good, the bad, and the odd. They do go on.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're your hosts, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
So, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Is that the right title? I always get this wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Spider-Man as well. Okay, so this is in the cinemas right at the minute. We're going to be getting into pretty heavy spoilers. I don't think the spoilers actually matter that much, because that's not what it's about, really. That's not the entertainment in it. There's nothing particularly unusual about any of the stuff that goes on. Okay, apart from the fact it's a multiverse and stuff. What it is quite an innovative film, so we'll be talking about that more. However, before we do kick into the main story, what's your general opinion?
I really liked it. I highly recommend you go see it. So.
I have to say, I don't think I'm actually qualified to judge this. I think I never felt like this before, but I honestly think I'm just too old for this. I have real problems with some of the artistic choices in it, and the way it did things that really took me out of the film. However, it was quite an amazing comic book film. Apart from all that, it was a true comic book film in many, many ways. More so than almost anything else I've ever seen, I'd say. So it's got that going for it. So I think it's a recommend. But having said that, some of the animation choices just brought on a headache for me. And even just thinking about it now, I'm starting to get a headache. Can you believe it? Anyway, yeah. So if you're feeling so inclined and don't mind too much of a visual assault, this is a pretty good comic book film. Right. Okay. So spoilers from this point on. Right, okay, yeah, it's an unusual one, this, isn't it? I mean, Miles Morales is more the main character in this than Peter Parker, really.
Yeah, Miles Morales was, well, he's the main Spider-Man in this.
Yeah, and we kind of see nods towards the other Sony Spider-Man movies, right? Yeah. We definitely get shots from Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, for example. The Goofy walking along, strutting along the pavement. In the dancing mode, we see a bit of that. We see a bit of the bit where he stops the train in Spider-Man 2 by Albert. There's that kind of stuff going on.
And there's also bits that allude to, like, Dr. Octopus and not Venom, but Goblins in it in parts. Yeah.
Not the Goblin we've seen in the first film. Not that.
No, a very different Green Goblin.
So I think they're trying to cloud what this is, but it feels like they're riffing on Tobey Maguire's movies more than
I get the feeling that the other Peter Parker introduced, Peter B. Parker is supposed to be like the actual Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, whereas this is just another a more idealized version. Yeah, because there's still the obvious differences, like Norman Osborn instead of being the regular Green Goblin, he's the ultimate Green Goblin. He's a big giant monster thing.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, the trailer gives away a lot. There are multiple Spider-Men in this universe, right? For various reasons, which we'll get into shortly. Now, I've got to say right at the top the thing that really bothered me about this film, which was when we're in the non-conventional part of it. When we're in the conventional story elements of it, which is, Miles Morales and his family going about their day doing stuff without all the comic book trappings. The animation style was really jarring for me because it was kind of jerky, almost like frames had been dropped.
Yeah, I think that was deliberate.
Yeah, I understand it was.
Using 8 frames per second instead of 16.
Oh, I didn't realise that. Man, it was annoying. Every time it happened, it took me out of the film. It really did, and induced a tension headache. And I also noticed it was kind of grainy. You could see the pixelation.
Yeah, I noticed that in a few places. Usually when characters shone a light on other things,
you could see like little squares within squares, and it wasn't smooth at all. And it's like, this is probably a bit of a reach, but there's I can't remember what the actual name for it is, but there's like a sort of a shape related to like multiverse theory that's like squares inside of squares. Okay,
Can't
so
remember
it
what
might
it's
be a
called.
deliberate which wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me in this film. That is the one big downside of this film. It really, I found it quite distracting. I was quite pleased when it went. In fact, the madder the film went, the easier on the eyes it was, bizarrely.
Yeah.
It was in the normal stuff that it was most, A, distracting, and B, it gave me a headache. It just really felt uncomfortable. It felt like an uncomfortable viewing experience, which is not what you want in a movie, right? Not as the default standard. Anyway.
Yeah.
So there was that. Did it bother you?
No, it was Menja sponges is the what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Menja sponge. It's like a square, but there's it's like a 9x9 grid with the middle squares removed,
Okay.
and then that repeated infinitely into smaller things.
Okay.
If you look it up,
There was definitely
you'll
a
see.
square motif within the pixelation. It wasn't just pixelation. There were squares within squares. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so this Menja sponge thing.
How'd you spell that?
MENGER sponge.
Okay.
I've dropped a picture of it in our
Yeah,
Skype.
I
so
just saw it. Yeah, we had the beat too.
that's
Okay.
that's what I'm referring
All
to.
right. So apart from that big old thing, I had quite a lot of fun with this film.
Yeah, it had a really good soundtrack. I might try and get some of that.
Yeah, the soundtrack was good. I thought the soundtrack was good. The characterization was, apart from Miles Morales, was reasonably functional. It kind of worked.
They were
wasn't
simple,
much.
but they stood out.
They
enough
stood
to-
out, yeah. His main character seemed to be his dad and his uncle, apart from the other
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and of course the
That's
bad guy,
kinda what it-
Kingpin. So
Yeah.
that was kind of it. I will stress we're getting into spoilers again. And then we kind of see Miles Morales right at the beginning doing this stuff, getting sent to a new school where he didn't quite fit in, right? And he was saying
Yeah.
goofy stuff. And he met was it
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy, and he was kind of a bit tongue-tied and saying stupid things. And his dad was being embarrassing and
Yeah,
this, that,
which
and the other.
really didn't help.
And there was also, we sat up fairly early. His dad was a beat cop, didn't think much of Spider-Man. Thought it was just
Nah.
a vigilante running around the
They
city.
never do. So
Yeah, so that's kind of set up early. We also get, so Miles is having trouble fitting into this school. He's not sure it's working. He goes and hangs out. He's got a cool uncle, hasn't he?
yeah, his cool bachelor uncle who takes him places where he can practice his graffiti art.
And they go down to this place where he tries the new thing, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But somehow a radioactive
Yeah.
spider gets out and bites
Well,
him.
they're below Alchemax, so which is
Okay.
where everything all the
takes place.
important stuff takes place. So it can be assumed that it was from there, or it just popped through alternate universe. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
So
It bites him, and we get this massive crescendo of music, crashing chords of a big dramatic bit, and which ends with him just swatting the spider, saying, "What's this?"
Yeah.
We kind of see it bite him and the poison going, but it doesn't seem to bother him, does it? He just swats it and kills the
Yeah.
spider, and then goes on his way. But then things start happening to him, as often happens with Spider-Man when he gets bitten. Right, he starts getting weird stuff happening, and he's
starts to freak out.
and he's even looking, things happen during this thing where he's running around outside the wall and running up the walls and this, that, and the other, and getting
Yeah.
stuck to things. And then he finds a Spider-Man comic showing
Yeah.
exactly that. So in this world, there is a
It's
Spider-Man, but there's also Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, well, because if you notice, they use the old comic books for the actual comic,
Yeah,
but instead of being called Peter, the main character is called Billy.
Billy.
So they've just written a story and named it, and Spider-Man's just sort of hand waved it. So
Yeah, but in this universe that Miles is in, there is a Peter Parker. and
yeah,
he
there is a
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker. He is Spider-Man, but there's comics about Spider-Man too. So
I really like the whole sequence where he realises he's something weird's going on, because they're folding over comic book tropes and ways of writing stories into that whole
Yeah.
sequence. For example, thought bubbles are appearing as he's thinking,
yeah,
containing the words, and they're layering. It's a very interesting I'd say almost revolutionary sort of style they've created here. It reminded me a bit of the way, I don't know, something like Crank did with the action film.
Yeah.
Like overlaying stuff.
What it mostly reminded me of was the Deadpool video game. Because that's...
There's Deadpool did some of the stuff it's doing here first, right? Deadpool does it first.
Yeah.
But what they do is how far they take it in this film. They really crank it up. And it's very interesting.
I think it was... My favourite bit was where he was running and saying, like, don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak out. And the thought bubbles would be, like, left behind. So you'd see, like, don't freak out, and it, like, whiz off screen.
Wafting
and then
down
just
the
keep going.
Yeah. It's like... and they did stuff with the... I mean, Deadpool's kind of fun in the way... It's live action, right? So Deadpool kind of does things like the thought bubbles now and again and little comic book tricks. However, the animation... The fact this is animated allows it to take it so much further.
Yeah.
Not only changing stuff like the full bubbles, but actually changing the animation style based on the characters on the screen, and it not being entirely incoherent. You know, it kind of really worked. It was almost like a cross between Deadpool and Who Framed Roger Rabbit in places, kinda, but taking it even further. Very clever. Do you know? I think one of the creative persons.
It was Lord and Miller, the guys behind the Lego Movie. So.
Okay, yeah, it felt very Lego Movie. It was like, I mean, the Lego Movie's pretty intense, but this just notched up even further. So there was a lot of good in this. Anyway, while Miles Morales is, I think if I remember rightly, while he's trying to investigate the spider, it then crashes.
Yeah, he stumbles into a fight between Spider-Man, the Green Goblin, and the Prowler.
The Prowler. Is the Prowler a real thing in Spider-Man, or is it just for this film?
He is. There's a few characters. He's basically like an evil Batman. And
he's got these weird like talons for gloves, doesn't he? And stuff like that.
It lets him like climb up walls and do all sorts. But there's been a couple of Prowlers in the comics, and one of them is Miles Morales' uncle, which is why that revelation didn't really surprise me. So so that you kind of knew that. I didn't. Well, we should say we do find out that the Prowler is his uncle. And Miles Morales, I do love another meta thing is Miles Morales, once he starts to embrace his inner Spider-Man, he realises what he can do. He buys himself a Spider-Man kids outfit. I think this may be my favourite Stan Lee cameo.
And it's the Stan Lee cameo, yes.
Yeah, because it's just so sweet, and it's like, anyone can wear the mask. It may not fit now, but at some point it will fit. And it's just so nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a great touch, isn't it? And it kind of calls back again to Tobey Maguire's outfit a bit in the first Spider-Man, a little. In his amateurish and stuff.
It's literally a Spider-Man sort of, not even a onesie, like a morph suit that he's got like zipped up at the back with a hoodie pulled over it. Yeah. And that's his costume for the most of the film. So
that's right. So they get into this. But basically, there's a big fight between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, monstrous Green Goblin.
Yeah, the ultimate
collider. And Wilson Fisk is mixed up there, isn't it? Well,
he's huge.
We don't see him yet. It reminded me a bit of the character in Despicable Me as well. And
a little.
And a bit of Uncle Fester. One of the few people I recognise, obviously Stan Lee, I recognise his voice, but it was Liev Schreiber. I kind of recognised Liev Schreiber. There was, and of course, Nicolas Cage, the Spider-Man noir. I recognised him.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So we get Spider-Man gets shoved into the beam of this particle accelerator.
Yeah, not before though. He like finds Miles and kind of establishes a link with him.
Yes.
He's like, you're like me, because they can kind of spider sense each other. I don't know how else to describe it.
They do spider sense each other. They basically, we do see that sometimes when he gets the spider sense, his head kind of gets the weird lines coming out of it, like a bit like they did in the '67 cartoon, right?
Well, that was how it was in the comics for ages.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. But the Spider-Man manages it explodes, kills the Green Goblin monster. Hurts Spider-Man badly, but he gives Miles. He's trying to get a USB drive into a thing to stop the accelerator, wasn't he, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
He gives it to Miles, and then I think doesn't Kingpin finish him off?
Yeah, Kingpin like crushes him.
Yeah.
Like just like double fist sort of smashes him.
Yeah. So we get Peter Parker's kind of gone, right?
Yeah, and there's this big state funeral for him, which is taken from, I think it was one of the Ultimate Spider-Man series, which was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is that. But then Miles is kind of gone to his grave, and then he encounters another Peter Parker who's slightly older and a bit more out of shape, but this turns out to be Peter B. Parker. Now, interestingly, I didn't recognise the voice, but the first Peter Parker was voiced by Chris Pine. And this one was by a different chap. So
does that mean there's now 4 Chris's in Marvel?
Yeah, I guess it does. So many Chris's. What's the fourth? It's Chris.
It's
Evans,
Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and now Chris Pine.
Chris Pratt is the one couldn't think of. Okay, so this one's a bit of a schlub. He seems like as you said, more like the Tobey Maguire one. Got older, right? Because he's got married to MJ, divorced that or something, or separated from her, and he's lost Aunt May, and he's kind of down on his luck. He's eating pizza when he should be training.
Yeah,
and all this. And
it's a great thing where he's trying to like big himself up. It's like, I was always on edge, and he's just sort of like lying in bed in the Spider-Man outfit, eating pizza. It is like awful one-room apartment sort of thing.
Yeah, and Miles kind of wants him to train him, but he's kind of reluctant. But they kind of work that out, don't they?
Yeah.
Then they go to the Fisk Research Laboratory, and they get cornered by this lady scientist who turns out to be called Olivia Octavius.
Yeah,
so
that was really cool.
So she's Doc Ock, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. What do you think about Doc Ock? Is a gender-neutral title and never occurred to me before. So it's
and they make a change with the arms, because normally they're like big robotic things. Now they're using more modern stuff, like soft robotics, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's almost like hydraulic stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like an inflatable tube.
Yeah, so there is that. She also reveals before we realise she's Doc Ock that because of the paradox is going on.
Yeah.
Who's are they all gonna die? I can't remember now.
Yeah, she's like, wow, you're gonna glitch out. It's gonna be really painful. I'm gonna watch you do it.
And that
like, oh dear.
Yeah, and she's like a sadist. And then they kind of fighting in a lab, but they're trying to escape with the. It was funny. Miles Morales takes the whole computer, doesn't he? With the monitor, and Spider-Man takes the monitor and throws it away. We don't need the monitor, he says, as they're running away with the base unit. And just as they're about to get kind of caught, another Spider person turns up, isn't it?
Yeah, Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen or
Spider-Woman.
And we kind of get a quick flash of a comic featuring her, don't we?
Yeah.
As the main, and it's funny how they kept kind of doing a shorter version of the origin story for each Spider-Man almost, isn't it? It's kind of funny.
They start off the film with like I'm Peter Parker. You may know me as Spider-Man, yada, yada, yada. I've been Spider-Man for like 10 years, and I've done this, and this. And then they introduce Peter B. Parker, and he has his own little thing. It's like, I got divorced, and this, and this.
And they do it through comic book front pages as well, as they're explaining stuff like that. It's very clever. It's really good.
Yeah,
this is the stuff I really liked.
It all comes to a head at the end, and we'll talk about it then. So...
So they go see Aunt May.
Gwen, who's
sorry, go on.
She's like a kind of punky girl.
Yeah.
And in her universe, Peter Parker was the Lizard. So,
whoa, that's so weird.
They show her fighting the Lizard, and then her seeing Peter Parker lying on the ground with scales all over his arms. So
yeah, they show it very briefly.
So either he was the Lizard, or he was caught in one of the Lizard's turn everyone to lizards schemes.
Yeah,
so
one or the other. Yeah. They escape through the woods, don't they? That's kind of a cool sequence.
There's a pretty cool fight because it's all like autumnal, so it's all like red leaves and white snow.
Yeah.
So they've got these cool contrasts, especially with the black outfit of Doc Ock and the red outfits as the Spider-Man.
Yeah, some of it reminded me of anime.
Yeah, it was pretty anime.
Which is fine. Yeah, that's kind of
What
cool.
reminded me most of was in the Animatrix where they have the samurai fight in the snow.
Yeah, it also reminded me of Samurai Jack, actually.
Yeah, I can see that.
There was a bit of that. That was kind of cool. So, so they get away and they realise they've got to go and see someone, and they go and see Aunt May. Now, Peter's kind of taken aback because in his universe, Peter B. Parker, because in his universe, Aunt May's died, but she's still alive in this one. She notices he looks bigger as and older and stuff like that, and she's kind of feisty, like really not shocked
She's
by
rowdy.
seeing all this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be that surprised, especially when you see what's coming up.
Yeah, and then she reveals 3 other Spider variants of Spider-Man. Is it 3? Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3. You get Spider-Man Noir. Who's
4. No, 3, right? Yeah, because they've got 3 already.
Yeah,
Spider-Man Noir, which is Nick Cage. And I do love the fact that every time he's on screen, the whole animation style kind of changes around him to suit him.
He's like from a dark 1930s styled universe where he's like fights Nazis.
Yeah, so he's a bit like the Shadow or something.
Yeah, kind of.
He talks in that cliched way, doesn't he? Which is fun, right? It's just fun.
And then there's Penny Parker, who's a like Japanese anime girl, who's got like a giant robot that's powered by that's run by a spider,
and it's got a little spider inside it that runs it. Or something.
Yeah,
and
then there's Spider Ham, who's a radioactive pig.
Now this, I did laugh just before he turned up. I think this was in the show. Just before he turned up, they took him to Penny Parker and they say, "It can't get any weirder than this." But then Spider Ham turns up.
It's like, I'm Peter Porker.
And he's cartoon. He's proper Looney Tunes kind of character.
Yeah, they even make jokes about it and how they technically shouldn't be allowed to use him, sort of thing.
So he was the character that really reminded me of Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit. And whenever he's on screen, it does get proper Looney Tunes. And his fighting powers seem to be based in the Looney Tunes universe. So
he pulls giant hammers out of his pockets, sort of thing.
And then we get some cool stuff where Peter, this Peter starts teaching Miles how to do his stuff, how to swing, how to swing.
Well, they kind of integrate that earlier, and this bit's more about.
Well, it's in the escape, isn't it? This suburb. Yeah.
And this is more about all the spider people kind of talking down to him, really.
Yeah, and he said, I could be part of the team. They go, yeah, all right, kid, it's all that.
Yeah.
At some point, I can't remember where, he realises Aaron is, his Uncle Aaron is the Prowler. And I think
he goes to his house to try and find him, and then the Prowler comes in the window and takes his mask off, so...
Yeah, and then when Aaron realises who he is, he has definitely has a moment of doubt, but Kingpin's kind of on his case.
Yeah,
I think
we get a pretty cool fight where he returns back to the Spider Gang and tells them that his uncle is the Prowler.
Yeah,
and then they all just crash through the door.
Right,
all the villains just crash through the door, including the Scorpion, who gets added to it. So, and he's like a giant robot Mexican wrestler sort of guy.
Yeah, and don't the police then think Spider-Man killed Aaron rather than...
for a bit. There was a nice little touch where earlier in the film Doc Ock says, "Oh, my friends call me Liv." No, like my close friends call me Liv. And then when she walks into the door at Aunt May's like, oh great, it's Liv, sort of thing. Which is a nice little callback to the multiple times that Doc Ock has tried to marry Aunt May.
Yeah. So. Cool. What was I going to say? Yeah, so it basically winds all up. It's Kingpin, he's fighting them, and Scorpion turns up too, right?
Yeah.
Is that just Scorpion? Or
it's Scorpion, Doc Ock, and Tombstone, who's just like a gangster guy. So
yeah, he wasn't very memorable. Scorpion was pretty cool in this. Very angry Scorpion.
Yeah.
As you expect. So there's basically a big old fight, and they've got to sort of get them back to their own universes, haven't they? But it's kind of an argument, like, oh, I'm going to let you... One of them has to kind of sacrifice themselves to stay, and Peter's like, Miles.
One
Miles.
has to stay behind, and they don't think Miles is like ready enough to be there while they do it, because he'll basically be left with all the villains.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, you're not going to...
Yeah, and Peter's sort of volunteering, isn't he? Because he's really got nothing, so it kind of, that's his rationale, and I think he just wants to go out heroically, perhaps. Not really sure. But anyway, it all kind of turns out all right in the end. Kinda.
They're able to get everyone back home, and after a nice big fight, and it turns out that the Kingpin's using it to try and get his wife and child back after they died in a car crash, running away from him.
Yeah, which is a bit always makes me think of like Mr. Freeze. That's kind of right.
Reminded me more of Evangelion, which is spoilers of that. The guy's trying to end the world to see his wife again. So,
well, that is a big spoiler. And it winds up, and there's a really awesome pre-credits. End credits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they do it often to a sequence.
Things.
Yeah, I really like that too. That showed a lot of creativity.
Yeah, they showed a big multiverse of Spider-Man. Yeah. So, and you missed the end, the post-credit scene.
I did.
That was really funny.
I couldn't be bothered to sit there. Yeah, I just had a banging headache, so I just wanted to get out.
It was Oscar Isaac as a future Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, talking about how, like, man, with all the stuff they've done, we kind of narrowed down multiverse travel. And then he travels into the 67 show.
Nice.
And then they just sort of like end up pointing at each other and just going like, your pointing's rude. You shouldn't be doing that. He's like, well, I'll point at you then. Point at you. And then Stan Lee is J. Jonah Jameson in that.
Okay. So I missed quite a bit then.
It's literally just about maybe a minute of them just going, you can't point, I'll point, sort of thing. It's funny, but just leave it till the Blu-ray or something.
Yeah, I'll come and sit there for 10 minutes waiting for something. Because I've been disappointed by so many Marvel, like pointless extra scenes that it's like I mean, there's sometimes a good one, but I think 2/3 of them are just completely and utterly pointless. So I kind of give up on it.
They did have, there's a brief mention at the start that Spider-Man released a Christmas album, and they have one of the songs from it at the end.
Oh, cool. Cool. Like I say, it's a good soundtrack, isn't it? Yeah. So in terms, like I say, I don't think I'm properly qualified to judge this, because I think there was too much going on for me to sort of deal with, actually. And I think I'd have been okay if I didn't have that whole central jerky main section nonsense, which really wasn't much, actually. If you go back through the film, those sections aren't that long compared to the rest of the film. So I'd say about 25 to 30% of the film has got that really irritating style. The rest of it, which is more frenetic, is actually easier on the eyes.
Yeah, there were some bits that kind of annoyed me, like the deliberate focus.
Oh yeah, I forgot. In some bits,
where it like distorts everything but what you're supposed to be looking at, which kind of doesn't make that much sense in this stylized a film.
You don't need to do that.
It just made me think we may have wandered into a 3D showing.
Screening. A lot of people have said this about this film, and it was kind of a bit jarring. But that wasn't the thing that annoyed me. It was the whole really jerky frame, jerks that just get on my nerves, which spoiled the film for me, frankly. It kind of did. I don't think I'm ever even going to watch this film again unless there's a smooth version of that part, which they might do. They probably won't know, right? It just made it look weird and cheap, and I don't know, it's weird. Whereas the rest of it was so inventive and creative. I know that this was not a cash grab by far, which I thought it was when I first saw the trailers because of the jerkiness, and it's like, what? But there's way too much inventiveness and care taken to do quite clever and interesting and different stuff for this to be a cash grab, because that is definitely not that. But man, it did spoil it for me, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't bother you, you'll love the film. And I still really like the film, despite the fact, there was a third of it gave me a banging headache. And it is funny talking back on it. My headache's starting to return. It really is. I can feel it. Okay, any last thoughts on this one?
No, not really. Just go see it. It's really good.
Yeah, I kind of recommend it if you think you can deal with the things I've said. But yeah, it's tricky. What would you give it out of 10?
I'd easily give it a 9.
I'm not surprised. I'm going to give it a 7, but I think it's a case of I'm giving it a strong 5. No, actually a 4 for the horrible stuff, the horrible jerky animation stuff as a spoiling element. But the rest of it, I'd say, was a 9. You know.
Yeah.
So, but that to me makes it a 6 or 7, really. I'm glad I saw it, but if someone said you've got to go see it again, I would not like it, because it was painful. It was literally painful. Watching watching that jerky stuff. It just felt so disconcerting to my eyes,
Yeah.
What do you think of the voice performance? I mean,
voicing was really
pretty good, wasn't it? It was all pretty good. Yeah, I really liked all of it, and I just liked all the elements that were thrown into it. I think it's an excellent film for youngish children. When I say that, I probably mean 7 and above.
Yeah.
Though I think younger will probably deal with it because it's so frenetic and exciting.
Yeah.
But it's got some interesting stuff, and I think in some ways it's revolutionary, as I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
And what it was doing, taking stuff like we've seen in Deadpool, for example, and really ramping it up in a very clever comic book way. Okay. I think this is a real comic book person's film in many ways.
Yeah. It's got a lot of callbacks to it.
While being completely accessible. So a great piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's wind it up there. Okay, so bye from me.
Bye.